Welcome to Humboldt, Kansas, the site of tonight's Class 2A regional playoff football between the Southeast Lancers and the Humboldt Cubs. I am Brett Shields, bringing you all the play-by-play action tonight. Joining me will be Kane Carpenter on color. Also, Destiny Shields will be taking care of our camera duties, and Zol Lopez will be handling everything on the production. Should be a great night of football, and Kane, welcome to the Humboldt broadcast tonight.
Looking forward to this one. Had a chance to watch a little bit of what Humboldt's been able to do this season, and looking forward to what they're going to be able to do against Southeast here tonight.
Yeah, Kane joining us. He's done the Independence games play-by-play for the last
Too long
10+ years.
Yeah.
And did color with your dad before that. I did the color with you for a while, but got the opportunity to come cover Humboldt this year. But it's been a fun season, and hopefully it'll be a longer season, but we'll see what tonight brings. This is a rematch from a game just 2 weeks ago where Humboldt came away with a 50-18 victory. However, you've got to remember that was a very tight game in the first half, as Southeast had arguably the best game plan of any team that Humboldt has faced this year.
Well, it's one of those things you have to do that's so difficult, especially in high school sports, when you, at least in football, have to play a team for a second time, especially on such short notice with it. But when it comes down to it, Humboldt's going to have to be prepared. Southeast's going to have to be prepared, and we'll get this one settled on a chilly night.
And actually, we are going to have the national anthem right now. We are going to stay here for the national anthem, so please listen in and enjoy. And that was the national anthem brought to you by the Humboldt Band, and they do a great job every week. And real quick before we get to kickoff here, just want to mention this game is being brought to you by many sponsors, including Johnson Schoengert PA, Cobalt Boats, Merle Kelly Ford, Animal Medical Center, Buster's Barbecue Home Cooking and Catering, Finley's Lawn and Pest, Humboldt Recreation Commission, Integrity Insurance, Labette Bank, Labette Health, Merle Kelly Ford, Midwest Medical Billing, the Monarch Cement Company, Shields Barbershop, and the Southeast High School Booster Club. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors. Without them, this game would not be available to you on our live stream. So, again, to all of our sponsors, thank you. And to all of you out viewing right now, thank you. So it looks like Humboldt will kick off to start the game, and Southeast will receive. Southeast will be going left to right on your screen. Southeast wearing the white jerseys, navy blue pants with the powder blue, if you want to call it that, numbers, which is not the easiest thing in the world to see from up here, but we'll do our best. Humboldt will be in their solid black uniforms, orange numbers, white outline on the numbers. I say they're completely blacked out. Black helmets, black tops, black pants. Half the players have black shoes on even. So the regional round of Class 2A playoff football is officially underway. It's going to be an onside kick, and this one will not travel 10 yards as Connor Haviland didn't quite get enough on it. And got an unlucky bounce. So Southeast will take over in Humboldt territory they will start their first possession of the game at the Humboldt 47-yard line.
I like the idea. Go ahead and try to catch them by surprise. And it's kind of funny. You and I were talking before we went on air about Saints with that surprise onside kick in the third quarter of the Super Bowl. And, Humboldt comes out, tries the surprise onside kick, just didn't go far enough.
We were doing our best to mock other famous announcers, but here we are. So it will be Peterson under center. And Peterson's just going to sneak this one up the middle. And the pile still moving. My goodness. And Peterson able to pick up, 17, 18 yards on the quarterback sneak. The Humboldt front line unable to get a good push there.
And the idea behind that, Southeast just wanting to eliminate as much time between the play developing and what Humboldt was going to be able to do defensively to try to get some penetration, and just sneaking it was the easiest way to do that.
So Peterson's going to go back under center and going to get Humboldt to jump offside, so that'll bring up a 1st and 5.
That's a tough break because it looked like they were trying to sell it as just a line shift, but yeah, they do flag him for 5.
And so the Southeast starters tonight, Bryce Peterson will be at quarterback. Gage Evans and Reese Jacobs, the receiver position. Zayden Hendricks will be the main running back. Jacob Tavanero will get some carries as well. Peterson under center. This one looks to be Oplotnik. And a much better job by the Humboldt defense. Oplotnik picks up just about a yard, so that'll set up a 2nd and 4 from the Humboldt 23-yard line. On that Humboldt defense, Blake Walker, Jacob Fudge, Joseph Froggett, Joshua Hall. That middle combo of Fudge and Froggett, that's a big duo up front. Peterson gives it to Hendricks, and Hendricks trying to get around to the outside, but he is stopped. Let's see who that was on the tackle. Looked like Hull over there. Looks like Briar Orth getting over there as well.
It looks like it was actually 42 Hendricks on the carry, but just running out of that double wing, it takes time for plays to develop, and Humboldt defensively, they get there very quickly.
Yeah, big 3rd down plays. You got to figure Southeast in 4-down territory. So man in motion. Now going to come back the other direction. Humboldt sniffs it out quickly. Ball carrier was 25. The fullback, that's Jacob Tavanero. He goes absolutely nowhere. So that'll set up a 4th and 4. And after that first play, an opportunity now for Humboldt to get their defense off the field and get their high-scoring offense out there. So Peterson will go under center. Man in motion, pitch to the outside. Humboldt's there, and it will be stopped. So the 4th down conversion will be unsuccessful. Looks like Briar Orth leading the charge there for the Humboldt defense. Humboldt will take over at the 25-yard line.
Just a lot of speed laterally for the Humboldt defense. They got there quickly on the edge. Southeast wasn't able to set up anything blocking-wise to be able to create some room, and it forces the turnover on downs.
And last time these two teams played, Connor Haviland rushed for 339 yards, but the Southeast offense did a good job of keeping Humboldt's offense off the field. The full house backfield, this one's going to go to Isaiah Coronado, and he'll pick up about 6 on the play.
Just a good dive up the middle with that one, and the offensive line creating holes. Winning at the line of scrimmage, that's really the most important thing in football, especially at the high school level, being able to control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's definitely big, and a good job there. Coronado runs hard. Kane, I don't know how much you saw of him coming into this game. Coronado, he just puts his head down and runs into that middle of that offensive line. Haviland going to look to throw. He's got nothing. Now going to pull it down and keep it himself. Avoids one tackler. Connor Haviland, he's got a whole field and a blocker in front of him. Haviland down the sideline. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Connor Haviland from 67 yards out.
And just like that, it looked like it was designed to be a pass. He steps up in the pocket, and again, something you and I talked about before we went on air. He just has such good vision and understanding where he needs to go on the field and breaking down a defense.
Yeah, the receivers weren't finding the open spaces, and had pretty good protection in the middle from his offensive line and made a couple guys miss, followed his blockers, the receivers who were down the field, did a good job getting into the end zone. Cubs will go for 2 as they have done all year. This one's going to be to Coronado straight up the middle. Conversion will be good. So it's going to be 8-0 with 8:38 to go in the first quarter. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching Class 2A Regional Playoff Football on SEK-sports.com. Back here in Humboldt, Kansas, where the Humboldt Cubs have taken an 8-0 lead with 8:38 to go in the first quarter. And Humboldt will be kicking off from their 40-yard line. And Connor Haviland, after a 339-yard performance 2 weeks ago when these two teams faced off, he starts the game with a 67-yard touchdown run because he's Connor Haviland, and that's what he does. Cubs going to kick it deep this time, and kind of a spiraling kick will be fielded at about the 25-yard line, and it's going to be just a 5-yard return as the coverage team, combination of Briar Orth and Drake Harrington there to stop that return very short. So Southeast will take over at the 31-yard line.
Southeast had pretty good success in that very first play they had offensively. Just quarterback keeper, very quick, didn't allow the defensive line time to react. Have to see if they try to go to more of that here on this drive.
Yeah, Peterson will go under center. He's got a wing on each side. Receiver split out to the right. At the man in motion, give's going to be to Oplotnik right up the middle. And that's big number 61, Blake Walker, come flying through that offensive line. Blake Walker with the stop. It's just going to be a gain of 1 for Oplotnik.
And again, even just a quick handoff, just a halfback dive up the middle, still enough time for that defense for Humboldt to create penetration, and just really nothing for Southeast to be able to run between the tackles.
So Peterson will go back under center, same formation with the receiver split out to the near side. This one is going to go to number 42. That's Hendricks. And Hendricks, I'll actually lose about 2 yards. And just looking at some of the numbers, Zayden Hendricks is actually the leading rusher for this team. However, you look at the last time these two teams played, Humboldt pretty much held him in check. The most offensive success that Southeast had against Humboldt was either Peterson, the quarterback, running, or when they gave it to Oplotnik just straight up the middle.
And I can see why. Again, it's just good movement along the defensive line so far for Humboldt, and I'll have to see more of that offensive line for Southeast asserting themselves if they want to be successful.
So receiver split out to the far side this time. Peterson going to look to throw, and Peterson's just going to chuck it deep, and this one is going to fall harmlessly incomplete, as can't tell who the intended receiver is. Those numbers are hard to see. Cooper Jaro on the coverage. Is that Gage Evans?
Yes, it is.
Well, yeah, number 2, Gage Evans, it appears.
It's like number.
Is it number 1?
Yeah, it does.
That's Kyron Applegate. So Southeast will punt. This will be their first punt of the game. A little bit of a high snap. Humboldt nearly gets back there in time, and J-Row going to let this one bounce in front of him. So Humboldt will take over on their own side of the field.
Did have a flag, it looks like, on the far side of the field.
The ball was down by Applegate at the 48-yard line, but as Kane said, there's a flag on the play. It's going to be a hold on Humboldt, so that will likely push them back 10 more yards.
Still a really good starting field position, though, even though they've shown this year they don't need great starting field position to begin with.
Yeah, not necessarily. If you go back to just last week, Connor Haviland had like 3 touches in the first quarter and had 3 long touchdowns.
And that's just the ability and, again, the vision. And if you're Southeast defensively, you've got to keep an eye on him. It's the kind of the football adage of make somebody else beat you in that situation.
So full house backfield with Haviland, who's in the shotgun set. Haviland going to keep it himself, going to the left side, and he will be dragged down after a gain of about 5.
And that's just a situation where Southeast playing to their assignment, motion, didn't fall for it, kept it, and was able to limit it to just a 5-yard gain.
So starting this one on the offensive line, Blake Walker is going to move into the center position. Speed Hepker going to fill in at left tackle. Connor Haviland, obviously the talented quarterback, Jackson Akins and Drake Harrington out there. And this is going to be a pass to the outside. Connor Haviland completes this one to Akins. And Akins going to find plenty of space as he will pick up about 13 yards on the play. So a very successful passing play. For Southeast on the defensive side, Cummings and Favuzo, on the defensive end positions. They're trying to set that edge for Southeast. At the linebacker position, it's pretty much the running backs just for Southeast moving over to the defensive side. Tavanero, Hendricks, and Oplotnik. They've got good speed at that linebacker position. A pretty good secondary, as you saw, able to make those open field tackles on that last play. This one goes up the middle. Looks like that's Coronado, and he'll pick up, what do you call that, 4, Cam?
Yeah, Haviland and Coronado kind of bumped into each other on the exchange, and that messed up the timing of that play just a little bit, but still able to get 4 out of it.
That'll bring up a 2nd and 6 from the Southeast 37-yard line. 5:24 to go and counting in the first quarter. Haviland going to take the snap. It's an option to the left side. Haviland going to keep it himself. Following his blockers, going to make a cut outside. Haviland to the pylon. Touchdown, Humboldt. 14-0. Cubs on top. 5:11 to go in the first quarter. And a 40-yard touchdown run for Connor Haviland.
Yeah, just ran the option to perfection there on that one. Had an outlet to be able to pitch it, but saw that he was able to cut it back more to the middle of the field. He had the opening.
Yeah, he had Jackson Akins also at the receiver position out there blocking in front of him and did a good job of using him as just kind of a yield blocker in front of him and made that cut to the outside. Coronado going to take this one straight up the middle. 2-point conversion good once again. So that'll make the score 16-0 with 5:11 to go in the first quarter. You are watching Class 2A Regional Playoff Football on SEK-sports.com. Coverage of the Class 2A Regional Playoff Football game in Humboldt is brought to you by these sponsors: Johnson Schoengert PA, Cobalt Boats, Merle Kelly Ford, Animal Medical Center, Buster's Barbecue Home Cooking and Catering, Finley's Lawn and Pest, Humboldt Recreation Commission, Integrity Insurance, Labette Bank, Labette Health, Merle Kelly Ford, Midwest Medical, the Monarch Cement Company, Shields Barbershop, and the Southeast High School Booster Club. Back here in Humboldt, Connor Haviland kicking this one and kicking it very deep. That one takes one hop and bounces into the end zone. That'll be a touchback, and to my recollection, that is the first touchback of the season for Connor Haviland. That was a boomer.
Yeah, I definitely got a hold of that one.
You had that wind helping him a little bit, too.
Oh, you didn't have to point that out.
Come
I
on,
wouldn't
man.
even brought that up in that situation. But
I can feel it up here. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have brought
until
it
you
up.
mentioned it, I really wasn't feeling it at that point.
Well, every time you're standing to the south
I'm
of me.
kind of blocking
so
it a little.
Every time I turn to look at you,
Yeah.
that wind hits me in the face, so I can understand why you didn't quite feel it yet.
If you're Southeast right now, you just kind of take things in stride a little bit. Try to focus your offense and pick up positive yards. That's where it's going to start.
Yeah, Peterson will go under center. He's got a man in motion. This one's going to go straight up the middle. Looked like that was Oplotnik. Or Actually, that looks like number 7.
Yeah.
That's Quentin Lunsford, the sophomore running back. Briar Orth on the tackle for Humboldt.
Wasn't a huge gain, but quick hitter. Just very quick play, able to get positive yards.
When the running back's just lined up about 3 yards behind the quarterback.
That's what you got to do.
Peterson under a center again. And this one's going to be given to Hendricks, who is coming around. And Hendricks gains about a yard. But one thing you got to notice, these Humboldt linebackers, they play close to the line. And Kyle Kobold, he really plays almost as a defensive end, but the other 2 linebackers, Speed Hepker, Briar Orth, by the time the snap happens, those guys are about 2 yards behind the defensive lineman, and they're usually moving forward at the snap.
Well, that's why the speed of the play you're running offensively counts so much if you're Southeast, and that's why those quick handoffs or even that quarterback sneak to start the game worked so well.
Well, the speed of Humboldt is number 57, Hepker, trying to come flying through that offensive line.
Almost looked like a busted play there.
Yeah.
It just looked awkward.
It looked like it was Peterson. So that'll bring up a 4th and about 5. And it appears that Southeast will punt once again as we're now at the 3:30 mark of the first quarter. I really thought I'd get Kane with my Speed Hepker pun there, but no reaction at all.
I learned to ignore your puns long ago.
So J-Row back to receive this punt. Another high snap. Humboldt can't get to this one. However, pressure was there. J-Row going to field this one on the run, but a good tackle there by Southeast. That's number 55, Ty Cummins for Southeast, and he wasn't fooled as J-Row was coming in hot. J-Row thought he could field that on the run and take it to the house, but Cummins was there to protect that one very quickly.
That can be dangerous anytime you try to field a punt running up on it, especially with some wind at your back like that. But
yes, for
able
sure
to haul it in.
Yeah, J-Row's been pretty successful fielding punts this season. He's been a pretty good punt returner, been a pretty good player all around, really. If you go back to last week, Cooper J-Row had a 63-yard interception return for a touchdown. So Haviland will go in the shotgun set, ball at the 45-yard line. He's going to fake to Coronado. Now he's going to throw to the outside. That's J-Row. J-Row makes one-man miss. It's a foot race to the pylon. Can J-Row get there? And he will be marked down at the 1-yard line. Connor Haviland misses out on a passing touchdown by 1 yard. Good job by the Southeast defender.
Still a 44-yard gain, though, as a result. Almost looked like a run-pass option the way they drew that up, with Haviland rolling out to his left-hand side.
Yeah, that was Bryce Peterson for Southeast who made the tackle, and great job by Peterson not giving up on that play because it looked to be a touchdown. Now you've given your defense another chance to stop Humboldt. Haviland will be in the backfield by himself. J-Row in motion. J-Row will go by. Haviland leaps over his offensive line into the end zone for a touchdown. With 2:36 to go, Humboldt goes on top 22-0. The Humboldt offense not missing anything so far here in the first quarter.
They've really shown a good variety of plays offensively. That's one of the other things I'm impressed with how they've been able to distribute the ball and get it to different players in creative ways.
Yeah, Haviland's got a couple carries. Coronado has a couple carries. J-Row has a reception. Akins has a reception. It's been a whole complete team effort. This time the end around is going to go to J-Row. J-Row makes the left-hand turn, and he will make it into the end zone. 2-point conversion is good. Makes the score 24-0 with 2:36 remaining. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. You're watching Class 2A Regional Playoff Football on SEK-sports.com.
If you're looking to save a buck on a new-to-you truck, car, or SUV, come see the selection at Merle Kelly Ford in Chanute. Spot a yellow tag and save thousands off the original listing price. Third row, leather, power seats, Bluetooth, rear view cameras. It's the markdown sale at Merle Kelly Ford in Chanute.
Back here in Humboldt, Kansas, the site of tonight's regional playoff round, and it's been all Humboldt up to this point, 24-0, as we are nearing the end of the first quarter, 2:36 to go. And Southeast needs to find something on offense to get back into this game, and they need to find it quickly.
Yeah, again, it just goes back to those plays that take time to develop, and they run a lot of that single wing or double wing out of it, which requires motion. It requires traps that works from the right to the left. It takes a lot of time, and so it's going to be difficult to find much out of that.
Haviland, another spiraling kick, and it is not fielded cleanly. However, avoiding one tackler, Briar Orth couldn't quite finish the tackle on that one, so the return will come out to about the 29-yard line, and that is where Southeast will take over. Coverage of the Class 2A Regional Playoff Football game in Humboldt is brought to you in part by the Johnson Schoengert PA Law Office, located at 118 West Madison Avenue in Iola. Call 620-365-3778. Again, that's 620-365-3778. The Johnson Schoengert PA Law Office wishes the best of luck to all area teams in their quest for a state title. So Southeast going to bring the offense out there. Peterson goes under center. Got a man in motion. Fakes to Oplotnik. Now going to look to throw. He's got a receiver out there. However, that one overthrown as number 2, Garrett Evans, was the intended receiver, but one of the Humboldt guys on the bench about 7 yards out of bounds made the catch. So that one just a little high and outside.
Well, that time Southeast faked the trap, ended up throwing a block on the left-hand side, rolled Peterson to his right to try to give him some time to throw, but still didn't matter. The defense played their assignments, got there quick.
Yeah, that's a couple times now we've seen Peterson look to throw, and both times thrown a little bit wide of his receivers. Man going to go in motion. Ball's on the ground. Peterson picks it up. Humboldt right there, though, so Peterson will only pick. I guess he's going to pick up about 4.
Yeah, good awareness. He just picked that up, and just that hole opened on that right side as a result.
Yeah, Blake Walker for Humboldt making the tackle on that play. So that'll bring up a 3rd and 6 for the Lancer offense. Southeast really needing some offensive production here, so a big 3rd down. Wide receiver split out to the far side. Man in motion. This one's going to be to Oplotnik. Bounces off of his center's back, and he's going to gain about 1.5 yards, maybe 2. That'll bring up 4th and 4. It's an interesting decision here now for Southeast. They really need to score on this possession. It is kind of a 4th and manageable. However, you've yet to pick up 4 yards on a play outside of the first play of the game.
But at this point, you do kind of need a spark. Humboldt's shown an ability that regardless of really where they're at, wherever they're at on the field, they can score. So may not necessarily come out here in a traditional set, although it looks like they probably will. But you got to try to do something to spark this team at this point.
Yeah, almost kind of surprised they didn't go to like a fake punt.
That's kind of what I thought, but you know what, more traditional. I kind of like it, though.
Peterson going to look to throw. He's got a receiver. It's completed over the middle. And looks like that's number 2, Garrett Evans. And now the Humboldt defense all there. But that pass goes for
looks like 19
about
yards.
19 yards. So a good play call there by the Lancer coaching staff, led by Jared Hansen. Coach Hansen needed a big spark play, and I think he got it right there with the quick slant. Wouldn't be surprised to see a few more throws here on this possession. 40 seconds and counting here in the first quarter. Southeast now moving as they are in Humboldt territory. Peterson under center, man in motion. This one's going to go to Oplotnik up the middle, and he is going to be met by the entire Humboldt defense after gaining about 1 yard.
Plotnik, 4 carries, 4 yards. They've been hard-earned yards as he's been absorbing a brunt of that punishment up the middle.
Yeah, he was kind of the leading rusher last time. I guess he only had 55 yards on 15 carries. It just felt like he was the key to that offense 2 weeks ago.
And sometimes it's just one of those guys you have to be able to spark things a little bit. And Southeast hasn't had it up to this point.
Well, that's going to be the end of the first quarter. Humboldt leading 24-0. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. You're watching Class 2A Regional Playoff Football on SEK-sports.com.
This may sound like a typical high school basketball game being played on a Friday night in Kansas. In fact, it's a crash course in cooperation and teamwork. It's a test of dedication, determination, and drive. It's character development in action. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think about this. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students who participate in school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. At the same time, playing sports helps teach lessons not covered in the classroom. Lessons like tolerance, respect for the rules, and the importance of supporting your community. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Kansas State High School Activities Association and the Kansas Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Back here in Humboldt, Kansas, where the Humboldt Cubs lead 24-0. We're going to start the second quarter now. It's going to be Southeast with a 2nd and 9 from the 45-yard line of Humboldt. Peterson under center, going to look to throw. Going with a quick slant once again. It looked like that one bounced off of Briar Orth and kind of hitting himself on the helmet, thinking he should have intercepted that. I don't think he had any idea the ball was coming. It just bounced off his helmet.
I felt like he read it pretty well, but yeah, wasn't expecting it to get there that quickly.
He was reading the receiver, but ran right into the throwing lane, which, hey.
That's still a pass deflection.
That's a linebacker that's been well coached. Hey, if you see that receiver running towards you, just kind of move into that lane. And although he didn't get his head turned around and make an interception, he was where he needed to be. So 3rd and 9 as Peterson goes under center, man in motion. Give will be to Oplotnik up the middle, and Oplotnik once again gaining just about 1 yard, maybe 2 if you're being generous. That'll set up a 4th. Call it about 7. And again, I feel like this is a 4-down territory kind of play, although it is a 4th and a little bit longer. Southeast now on the Humboldt side of the field where they can take a few more risks.
Yeah, they got the momentum by completing the 4th down play earlier. Got it for 19 yards. Got to try to keep that going and sustain this drive here.
Yeah, I expect either a pass or some kind of jet sweep possibly. Peterson under center, man coming in motion. Going to fake the pitch. He's got a receiver going down the sideline, and pass will be broken up. Is that Cooper J-Rowe? Yeah, it's Cooper J-Rowe. J-Rowe didn't get his head turned around, but didn't make contact with the receiver. Kind of played the hands game, put his hands straight up, and played it well.
Well, Peterson initially had 2 receivers because everyone stepped up, but credit Humboldt, they recovered extremely well,
that's
and got back there.
One thing about this Humboldt Cub team, they don't have a whole lot of 6'4", 280 guys. They've got a couple, don't get me wrong. They've got a bunch of 5'8", 150 guys that run like 4'4", 4'5", 40.
Like I said, I thought he initially had it, but
which at the high school level is fast.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They got a lot of fast kids on this team, and yeah, on plays like that, those corners and safeties, they recover very quickly. So Humboldt will take over at the 43-yard line. Haviland in the shotgun set. Going to keep this one himself, going to the right side. Makes a cut inside. Now trying to follow his blocker. Gives a stiff arm. Gets pushed out of bounds at the 20-yard line. But that one's going to go for 37 yards for Connor Haviland. And Connor Haviland is just racking up the yards, trying to match his 339-yard performance from 2 weeks ago.
All about that vision, his ability to see where he needs to go with it. Credit the blocking, of course, all night long. But again, just that vision to be able to create after he gets beyond that level of blocking initially on the line of scrimmage.
The only thing worse for the Southeast defense could be a frustrated Connor Haviland, and his hand warmer got broken on that play, and he chucked it to the sideline. So Connor Haviland not real happy right now. Give will be to Coronado. Coronado going up the middle and gets stuffed pretty good after picking up about 3 yards. But he got stood straight up. Looks like that was Oplotnik on the tackle for Southeast. And Oplotnik looks to be holding his right arm. However, Oplotnik he's a tough kid. And doesn't look comfortable out there, but he wants to play football.
Getting hit when it's this cold, you feel it a lot more when that contact happens.
That wind that Kane hasn't felt yet.
No, that feels great up here.
This is interesting. The offensive line now shuffling some guys around. What a move by Haviland. He juked the one defender out of his shoes. Haviland still driving his feet. He's going to get inside the 10, so that'll be enough for a 1st down. And something I just noticed, Kane, Taylor Lastman was in there at the center position. Lastman missed last week's game with a knee injury and did not start tonight's game. However, he was in there at the center position. Like they were moving a couple guys around.
Well, unofficially, stat-wise, got Haviland with just 6 carries, 154 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Average game.
Average game so far.
So Haviland going to go in the shotgun set on the far hash. Coronado to his right. Now he's going to run to the right side. Breaks one tackle around his legs. Haviland going towards the pylon. Gets in just inside. Ooh.
That's a tough call.
And stepped out at the 1 yard line. I couldn't see his foot, so I can't say whether or not that was a good call or not. I assume a couple spectators down there on the sideline.
It's a tough call.
So, yeah, he'll be pushed out at the 1. Still an 8-yard gain. That'll bring up a 2nd and 1, 9:34 to go here in the second quarter. Again, Humboldt leading 24-0, looking to get 6 more points on the board and looking to do that rather quickly. Haviland in the backfield, shotgun set. Coronado there behind him. Good block by Coronado, and Haviland just dances right into the end zone. So Connor Haviland scoring yet another Humboldt touchdown. Is that his 3rd or 4th?
4th.
That's his 4th rushing touchdown of the first half, matching his rushing touchdown total from just 2 weeks ago. Now 30-0, Cubs on top, 9:30 to go. Again, Humboldt lining up for the 2-point conversion. Humboldt with Coronado to his left. Coronado going to run a bubble screen. Pass is complete, and Coronado will get in to the end zone on the far side. So 2-point conversion is good. Cubs now 4 for 4 on their 2-point conversions, making the score 32-0. Again, 9:30 to go in the second quarter. We're going to take another quick break. You are watching Class 2A Regional Playoff Football on SEK-sports.com.
If you're looking to save a buck on a new-to-you truck, car, or SUV, come see the selection at Merle Kelly Ford in Chanute. Spot a yellow tag and save thousands off the original listing price. 3rd row, leather, power seats, Bluetooth, rear view cameras. It's the markdown sale at Merle Kelly Ford in Chanute.
Back here in Humboldt, Kansas, where it is all Cubs, 32-0, as they lead the Southeast Cherokee Lancers. And Southeast on their last offensive possession seemed like they had a little bit of a jolt there as they converted the 4th down pass attempt and then couldn't keep it going as the second 4th down pass attempt got broken up by J-Ro, and then Humboldt marched right down the field and scored again. So Southeast kind of getting into that desperation mode, I've got to think now, as they trail this one 32-0.
You just got to keep pressing on if you're Southeast. Positive yardage, moving the ball down the field, because yards and points are very difficult to come by against this Humboldt team.
Connor Haviland going to kind of high pooch kick this one. Don't blame him with that wind. That ball was probably going to do some tricks up in the air. Ooh, Connor Haviland laying the wood. Whoo, man.
Haviland going airborne on that tackle.
He did.
Hit the square button to get in there.
Sure that wasn't the old good old hit stick.
Yeah.
Man.
That forces Southeast into this position. Better field position, really, than what they've had a lot over the course of this night. But, again, just got to get positive yardage out of this drive.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Southeast try to throw a little bit, especially with that wind at their back now. Peterson under center. Looks like they're going to run an option play. Peterson really just running east and west as he'll get pushed out of bounds. It's going to be no gain on the play.
The thing is, that was a well-blocked and a well-ran option play. It's just defensively Humboldt
Too much
got out there so quick.
Too much speed from that Humboldt defense. That being said, the tackle was made by none other than number 57, Speed Hepker.
Just so hard to be able to gain the edge when the defense is out there setting where that edge is.
So ball at the Southeast 37-yard line. Peterson under center. Now run coming the other direction. And that one, again, pretty much going nowhere as Speed Hepker again with the tackle. And Speed Hepker having a pretty good half here on the tackling front. He came into the game, with 92 total tackles. 66 of those were solo. both of those lead the team. He also has a team-leading 3 sacks. He is tied with that team lead, but got to give him credit. He does have those 3 sacks, tied with Josh Hull, who also has 3 sacks on the season.
And that's just team ball on the defensive end of things with it. You know, you've got guys, even though you may look at it and say that's not a huge sack number, but it's spread out across the team the way it works with this.
You got to remember, you've only played 9 games.
Exactly.
It's not like NFL, you played a whole 16-game schedule.
Well, I don't know where this defense plays. They're showing off they're better than some NFL defenses.
I don't know which NFL defense you'd be talking about.
Tampa Bay, actually.
My NFL defense, the Chiefs, have improved mightily this year. So far, anyway.
You're right.
The 5-yard delay of game penalty, so that's going to bring up a 3rd and 14 for the Lancer offense. Man in motion. Peterson going to look to throw. He's got a man open. That one is complete, and looks like Gunnar Elder going to be there on the tackle. Let's see who the receiver was.
Good luck. Let's see here.
I'm going to say
Hendricks.
Yeah, Zayden Hendricks, number 42, the running back. That one went for 20-plus on 3rd and 14, so that's going to be another first down for the Southeast Lancer offense. And they've got this offense moving now. I said when this drive started, thought they might throw a little bit. They've got that wind at their back, and on 3rd and long, they did so and did it successfully.
Yeah, they rolled Peterson out again to buy him some more time. Worked very well on that play.
Now in Humboldt territory on the 46-yard line. Man in motion. Couldn't tell you who that give was to. There was too much going on right there.
Yeah, quick handoff but again, trying to gain the outside. It almost seems futile at this point against the Humboldt defense.
That's number 25, Jacob Tavanero. And Tavanero, really no gain on that play. So bring up a 2nd and 10. Again, ball at the 46-yard line of Humboldt. Again, that front 4 for Humboldt, Blake Walker, Jacob Fudge, Joseph Froggatt, and Joshua Hull. That is one of the meanest front 4s, especially in 2A, that you will find across the state. A run coming this direction for Southeast. See the ball carrier on that one.
Yeah, they always walk to the side where you can't see the
do.
back or the front. But that was a good counter there.
Yeah,
fake the trap,
like
hand it off on the counter, able to find a little room as a result, gain of 3.
And actually, that was Tavanero again. So that'll bring up a 3rd, and we'll call it a short 7. Cooper Jaro coming up from the corner position to make that tackle. When you get these tight offenses, the corners, they play in closer to the game. So Peterson going to look to throw to the right side. Pass will be complete. Big hit on the far side, but that's going to be enough for a first down.
Hendricks on the reception.
Zayden Hendricks once again. That was Coronado on the stop, the big hit, but the big hit came about a yard too late as Southeast picks up another first down. So Southeast got this offense marching. Ball now down to the 35-yard line.
That was just Hendricks kind of leaking out of the backfield there and finding some
pretty
room.
much the exact same play they ran on the last 3rd and long.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Same concept.
So Peterson going to go under center. Wing in motion. Peterson now looking to throw. This one will be completed to the receiver. Another big hit on the outside. Looks like Coronado once again on the big hit. The receiver, number 12, Caden Fox. Fox picks up about 8. So Peterson under center once again. Again, Peterson looking to throw. Going to go with the pump and go. Throws this one up for grabs, and Coronado nearly brings it in with one hand. It will fall to the ground, harmlessly incomplete. And I like the play call on 2nd and short. They tried to do the pump and go. The defender for Humboldt didn't really fall for the pump fake. I don't think he was looking back at the quarterback.
That's 2 things. I like the call, but if it's not there, you can't throw that.
Yeah.
And if you do throw that, you can't throw it off your back foot like Peterson did.
Yeah, it floated up there in the wind, and it gave Coronado an opportunity to intercept that one, but falls to the ground. Peterson going to go right up the gut with this one and be anxious to see where they spot this. The far side official is right on the line. However, the near side official is going to he's going to spot that one a little bit past the line, so they will give him the first down. So again, Southeast finally got this offense going, a long, methodical drive. This is the drive that Hank Stram would be very proud of.
Well, this is exactly what Southeast had to do, just try to push positive yardage.
If you go watch film from 2 weeks ago, this is what Southeast did the entire first half. Peterson going to throw once again to the right side. He's got a man wide open, and Gunnar Elder picks it off. Elder coming now this direction, trying to find a blocker. Now Gunnar Elder, he's got one man to beat. He's got Coronado in front of him blocking. Gunnar Elder to the 20, the 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Humboldt scores again, this time on the defensive side of the ball. 38-0, Humboldt on top.
Takes that one 84 yards to the house, and Southeast going to the well one too many times, rolling to the right, throwing on that sort of a flood route, got more of your receivers on that right-hand side or on that one particular side. Had his tight end on the left, but just never saw him.
I have the perfect pun for Gunnar Elder, and I used it last week. I won't do it again, just out of respect for everybody here and for Gunnar Elder, because the play alone speaks for itself. A great job reading the play, following his blockers all the way down the sideline to the last yard. What an interception, what a return. A well-deserved defensive touchdown for Gunnar Elder. So Haviland shotgun set. Give will be to Coronado, and Coronado will get in. The fifth two-point conversion of the game is good. Humboldt on top, 40-0 with 3:41 to go here in the second quarter. We're going to go ahead and take another quick break. You are watching Class 2A Regional Playoff Football action on SEK-sports.com. The coverage of the Class 2A Regional Playoff Football game in Humboldt is brought to you by these sponsors: Johnson Schoengert PA, Cobalt Boats, Merle Kelly Ford, Animal Medical Center, Buster's Barbecue Home Cooking and Catering, Finley's Lawn and Pest, Humboldt Recreation Commission, Integrity Insurance, Labette Bank, Labette Health, Merle Kelly Ford, Midwest Medical Billing, the Monarch Cement Company, Shields Barbershop, and the Southeast High School Booster Club. So back here in Humboldt, the Cubs on top 40-0 with 3:41 to go. And Southeast, man, they had one heck of a drive going. But as Kane said, you run the same play just one too many times, or the same concept anyway. And Humboldt sniffed it out. Gunnar Elder took it back all the way to the house. And the kickoff here actually will go out of bounds. So see if Southeast elects to take over at the 35. They could force Humboldt to re-kick.
Well, really, regardless of what Southeast decides to do here, this is kind of where you find out where your mental toughness is. It's almost back-breaking to have that happen. But you've got to understand, you had positive yardage, you moved the ball down the field. Great individual play defensively by Gunnar Elder. You just got to kind of put that behind you a little bit.
Well, as I had mentioned, the previous play before that, you go back 2 weeks ago, keep in mind, it was a close game at halftime, and that was because Humboldt was limited to 3 offensive possessions. They scored on all 3, but Southeast had over and over just long, methodical drives where they scored on one of them, but it was 12-6 with 2 minutes left in the second quarter. Humboldt scoring in the final 20 seconds to make it 20-6 at half in that game. But Southeast had the perfect game plan 2 weeks ago. That was to keep Humboldt's offense off the field.
Yeah.
Tonight, they haven't had as much luck with that.
No, not at all, and that's a recipe that works really for just about any level of football. You see that in the NFL a lot. Keep the great quarterbacks off the field.
Mentioned him earlier, Chiefs.
Yeah, exactly.
When Patrick Mahomes is healthy, you keep that team off the field, and they can't score. That's a good play here by Southeast, coming to the outside, down the sideline. That'll be enough for a first down. Pushed out of bounds was the running back's number 42, Zayden Hendricks, but Hendricks will pick up about 17 on the play, so another A big play for the Southeast offense. Looks like Jackson Aikens will be credited on the tackle as he pushed Hendricks out of bounds at the 48-yard line.
That's really the first time Southeast has been able to gain the edge on the outside and beat the Humboldt defense.
And Southeast has had a couple passing plays, and then, of course, the big run on the first play of the game, but that was a quarterback sneak right up the middle. This one's going to go to Tavanero to the right side. Look like if Tavanero would have followed his blocker, Brandon Favuzzi, he might have had a little bit of a lane out there, but Tavanero tried to cut it upfield a little bit. Still picks up about 5. Man, it looked like he might have had a little bit of a lane on the outside.
Yeah, it definitely did, and better blocking right now up front by Southeast, creating some holes and even getting down the field to the second level a little bit, able to get positive yardage, which is what they have to have.
So 2nd and 5 as Peterson goes under center. Going to pitch it to the back in motion. That's 42, Zayden Hendricks, and Hendricks going nowhere as Joshua Hull just swarmed over Hendricks. It's going to be a loss of about 3.
Well, that's the exact same play they ran and got 17 earlier in this drive. Tried it again, but it's just so difficult to keep going to that and finding success.
Joshua Hull setting the edge from that defensive end position that time.
He remembered.
Yeah, he remembered that play.
He remembered.
The one guy that's not going to forget getting beat on the edge is probably the defensive end, and Hull did a good job of having a good memory and recognizing that play immediately. 5 seconds on the play clock. Peterson under center, gets it away, fakes the pitch, now going to look to throw. He's got a receiver, and just off the hands of the receiver, looked like that was intended for number 1, Kyron Applegate. Will fall incomplete. Drake Harrington on the coverage, and good coverage by Harrington.
Good coverage, but a good throw.
Yeah, really good throw.
Really put it where he had to give his receiver any shot at that one.
Applegate got his hands on it, but I can tell you, even from a little tiny bit of experience, that ball coming in, it hurts. I mean, you got to have soft hands to catch a tight spiral like this in this colder weather. So 4th down play. It's going to be a pass. This one will be complete. Ooh, ball's on the ground. They'll rule this one incomplete.
Yeah, not sure he ever pulled that one in for possession.
Yeah, that was the senior Garrett Evans, and I don't know if he established a quote-unquote football move. Either way, Humboldt was going to get the football back because Evans was on the ground and there was 3 Cubs getting ready to pick that football up, and they ruled it incomplete. So
yeah, borderline a worse call in that situation.
Yeah,
if
you're Southeast, you're kind of like, just let it go, man. Let
him
pick it up back there. But nonetheless, Humboldt now 1 minute, 23 seconds to go, 54 and a half yards to see if they can't get one more score on the board.
Yeah, more than enough time.
Especially for this offense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Haviland shotgun set. He's going to give it to Coronado. Coronado going up the middle, trying to avoid tacklers. And he'll get to the Southeast 48-yard line. It's going to be a gain of about 7. Clock still rolling now to the 105. Offense now getting up to the line quickly. Full house backfield. Haviland going to look to throw. He's got Aikens there. Oh, Aikens nearly bringing that one in. He had to avoid the defender. The defender didn't know the ball was coming. Aikens stepped behind the defender, nearly bringing that one in, but it will fall incomplete. Glass half full for Humboldt. It does stop the clock without having to use one of their 3 timeouts, but it will set up a 3rd and 4 from the 48-yard line.
That's a really good adjustment by Aikens with his body trying to get to the ball, even though it was a little underthrown.
Didn't make contact with the defensive back. So 3rd and 4 play here. Haviland going to keep it himself. Haviland now to the right side. It's a foot race once again. Haviland showing the speed, and Connor Haviland from 48 yards out will take this one to the house for his 5th touchdown, 5th rushing touchdown of the first half. Humboldt on top now, 46-0 with 42.6 seconds remaining until halftime.
Haviland once again showing the fluidity as a runner, his speed on the top end.
He showed the true,
once he got to the outside.
His true straight line speed at the end of that run.
And that's what you have to have in a player like that.
So Humboldt going to try to go a perfect 6 for 6 on their 2-point conversions. Haviland, Akins will go in motion. The give will be to Akins. He's got blockers in front of him, and Jackson Akins will get into the end zone. 2-point conversion is good. Humboldt now leading 48-0 with 42.6 seconds left until halftime. We're going to go ahead and take another quick break. You are watching Class 2A Regional Playoff Football on SEK-sports.com. Again, coverage of the Class 2A Regional Playoff Football game in Humboldt is brought to you by these sponsors: Johnson Schoengert PA, Cobalt Boats, Merle Kelly Ford, Animal Medical Center, Buster's Barbecue Home Cooking and Catering, Finley's Lawn and Pest, Humboldt Recreation Commission, Integrity Insurance, Labette Bank, Labette Health, Merle Kelly Ford, Midwest Medical Billing, the Monarch Cement Company, Shields Barbershop, and the Southeast High School Booster Club. So Humboldt on top, 48-0. Just over 40 seconds remaining until halftime. And I can tell you that, actually, I can't assume this, but I don't really know if either team expected the game to quite go this way.
I know Humboldt wanted it to, and so far they've had pretty much a perfect first half.
This one, well, ball's on the ground, and Southeast just dodged a huge bullet as that ball was on the ground, and Humboldt would have been in striking distance. I guess the way Humboldt's been playing,
anywhere would be striking distance.
Humboldt could have been on the other end zone with a second left, and they'd have been in striking distance.
It's just that offense for you. But, you know, before that kickoff, I was looking down there, and I noticed the Humboldt cheerleaders, they were doing push-ups. And, man, if they've got to do push-ups for every point scored, they're going to be some in-shape cheerleaders, that's for sure. I didn't count 48, but still, that's got to be impressive with the way the season's been going.
Even if they just do 7 each time, I mean,
that's a lot.
It's a workout.
That adds up.
Let's see what Southeast does this time. Man in motion. It looked awkward.
Yeah, it looked like 2 went in motion.
Now a flag does come out. It will be a legal procedure.
Probably, for all intents and purposes, should have been an illegal shift, as they were both eligible to move, but couldn't move at the same time.
And they showed that
he did show illegal procedure, but I think he almost showed illegal shift coming out, realizing that's what it needed to be.
So we'll bring up 1st and 15 now for Southeast. Like balls on the ground. Peterson picks it up. Now breaking tackles. Peterson's got running room. Now it's a foot race. It's Peterson and Coronado. Peterson breaking the tackle. Now he's dragging a tackler. And Drake Harrington finally makes the tackle. Southeast coaches flying down the sideline trying to get the timeout called, as there will be 4.4 seconds left. And this will now be Southeast's best scoring chance. However, probably time for just one play.
It was a 63-yard run.
Glad you counted.
Yeah, well, I was trying to while you were talking. But yeah, if you're Southeast, that's what you have to have happen here in this situation. I know 4.4 seconds, not a lot of time. I know what you're hoping for, a field goal. You're a big kicker guy when it comes to this.
You know, they did attempt an extra point on the last touchdown of the game 2 weeks ago. However, it was unsuccessful. Wind at their back. Why not?
Yeah, I don't necessarily can argue with that, or want to argue with you on that.
At this point, you're wanting to get points on the board. It's a pride thing.
I guess this stage of it. But I can also see they've ran a lot with Peterson rolling to his right. I got to imagine they're going to do that again. But they've been leaking a tight end out on the left-hand side, and he's found a little room. It'd be a tough throw, but like you say, he's got the wind at his back. He can probably try to loft that across the field if he has a step with it.
So ball spotted at the 17-yard line. Again, time for one play. We'll see what the Lancer offense brings. Peterson under center. And he will throw. Now looking back to the left side, now going over the middle. Pass will fall incomplete, and the clock strikes 0. So our halftime score, Humboldt 48, Southeast 0. It's been quite the first half. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. You've been watching Class 2A Regional Playoff Football on SEK-sports.com.
This may sound like a typical high school basketball game being played on a Friday night in Kansas. In fact, it's a crash course in cooperation and teamwork. It's a test of dedication, determination, and drive. It's character development in action. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think about this. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students who participate in school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. At the same time, playing sports helps teach lessons not covered in the classroom. Lessons like tolerance, respect for the rules, and the importance of supporting your community. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Kansas State High School Activities Association and the Kansas Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Back here in Humboldt, Kansas, where it has been all Humboldt for the first 24 minutes of football here in this one. Humboldt Cubs leading 48-0, and we have tried and tried and tried all season to not give the illusion that it is the Connor Haviland show. It's the Connor Haviland show here tonight, and it's been the Connor Haviland show most nights that Humboldt has been out here tonight, or been out here this season. You go back 2 weeks ago, again, we've mentioned it a few times, Connor Haviland had 339 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns in the previous matchup with Southeast. And I'm sure Kane has the numbers,
where he's at now?
Has the numbers for what he's done so far tonight.
Unofficially, do want to put that out there. Right now, for Connor Haviland, 9 carries for 212 yards and those 5 rushing touchdowns. And just to boot, he's 2 of 2 passing for 57 yards. So not a bad first half, not game, which is pretty impressive for any kind of player through one half of play in the playoffs to have that kind of yardage.
Yeah, and if you will see on the screen momentarily, we will have some score updates coming for you. Just kind of check those out. They will gradually come up. So Zoll, who's been doing everything with the production tonight, he's doing a great job getting those scores up for us. Again, those will kind of momentarily come up throughout halftime. Kane, it's been one heck of a first half for Humboldt, and not to take away from anybody else, because, yes, Connor Haviland has been great. Isaiah Coronado has had a pretty good night rushing the football. Cooper J-Rowe had the big reception where he nearly scored. The defense has played phenomenal for Humboldt, and that's not to take away anything from Southeast. Southeast has had a couple plays that they've hit on. Bryce Peterson has had a pretty decent night throwing the ball early on. He was overthrowing his guys or throwing a little wide, but since then it's kind of settled down, had a couple big third down conversions. Unfortunately, Southeast just can't get points on the board.
Yeah, that's where it comes from, and the Humboldt defense has made it so difficult for them over the course of this first half to really be able to do much of anything. You mentioned the Lancers. They've been able to get something going here and there, but it's not been consistent enough to mount a threat more serious than that drive they had towards the end of the second quarter, which ended in the interception return for a touchdown. So coming out in the start of the second half, something you and I, when you were doing games with me over in Independence, just talking about in general, it can become important to try to win the second half, because not conceding defeat at this point, but you never know what can happen if you kind of put out of your mind where you're at this point in the game. Let the coaches worry about that. As a player, you've got to go out, focus on what you need to do, what you've been practicing for all week when it comes down to this second half of football. And for seniors, you got to play like it's your last game, because it may very well be.
Yeah, down 48-0. You've got to come out and something you and I have talked about on many Independence broadcasts previously, win the second half. You know, when it's 48-0, it's hard for players, it's hard for coaches to go into the locker room, I know, and say, hey, let's go win this game. You know, obviously it's win or go home time. It's playoff football. It's the regional round. But, you know, whether you're a senior or if you're a junior or an underclassman, this is kind of about pride at this point, and you've got to go out and show you've still got fight. And it's not only that. I mean, this is a 2A, or when you go to other sports, both these schools, I believe, are in 3A. If you get into basketball, wrestling, whatnot. This goes further than football because these two teams potentially could see each other in postseason play in basketball or wrestling or baseball, softball, whatever it is. You got to go out with a decent taste in your mouth. You can't, if you're Southeast, you can't come out here with your heads down and just say, all right, this one's over. You got to come out here, bust your butt, and half of football.
And I expect we'll see a lot of fight coming from Southeast through the second half of this ball game. And as you mentioned, regardless of what you are as far as class on this team, senior, junior, whatever, you do have to come out and try to prove something in the second half of this game because you played each other not that long ago, and you showed you were able to, at least for a little while, try to hang with Humboldt a little bit.
Keep in mind, 2 weeks ago, at this very point in time in the game, it was 20-6. And that was after Humboldt scored with like 18 seconds left in the second quarter.
Humboldt, and of course, offensively especially, everything does start with Connor Haviland. And this is the first game I've been able to watch of this Humboldt team. But
live.
I mentioned it. That's true, live. I did get to see some things online. And I mentioned it earlier. The thing I've been so impressed with is just the diversity on the offensive side with play calling and what they run. You see a lot of teams
diversity
at any level,
old wooden shit.
at any level, who have an offensive philosophy, especially if it's something out of a flex, a single wing, a double wing, predominantly running the football. Granted, Humboldt does that a lot, but they've shown they've been able to run screens. They've tried to push the ball down the field, throwing it. They've shown just variety in the way they call plays, which is going to be a huge asset if they win this game. Of course, it's not over. We'll say if still, obviously, on that end. But going forward, because once you get out of this stage, it gets so much more difficult, especially at 2A and 3A. Not so much 4A. 4A is pretty homogenized at the top in terms of premier teams.
If you've seen the bracket.
Bracket's insane.
Do you know the potential matchups next week?
It's Nemaha Central and Rossville. I about said Nemaha Valley. I haven't been that for a few years. Exactly. But this was a Humboldt team that beat Rossville last year, right, on that end. And you kind of have to, because you're going to have that, and then the next round, who did they lose to last year? I think that's who would be coming up if they end
Riley County.
Riley County.
Or the potential matchups, if they were to somehow, I shouldn't say somehow, that's a bad way to say that. It's a horrible way to say that.
I know what you're saying.
If they were to get past a potential Rossville or Nemaha Central, the next potential matchup, more than likely, would either be a Riley County or a Silver Lake.
In Silver Lake,
seriously?
How
tough is 2A, man?
Yeah, Silver Lake just one of the best teams in the state of Kansas, period, when it comes down to it. And it's been years since I've seen Silver Lake play, so obviously things have changed. But
no, they haven't changed at Silver Lake.
It's like a D2 college. I mean, I'm not even kidding. It's insane with what they have. But if you want to get to that level, you got to beat these teams. And it's a Humboldt team that's very much capable of doing that.
I graduated from Cherryville, and my senior year and then the year after I graduated, Cherryville played Silver Lake in the playoffs. Both times at Silver Lake. When they come out of their locker room, their locker room's like connected to the school. So their school's kind of behind the stadium, and then there's a little bit of a parking lot. Those kids come walking out, and they bring like the first 5 or 6 kids. Are these like the kids' parents suited up?
Exactly.
What's going on? I mean, they're bringing out like 6'5", 320.
You end up
back to back to back to back, and you're like,
remember the Titans when they're on the sideline and they're like, it's like Monday Night Football out there, coach.
Who do they think they are? The New York Jets?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. But
that's what it feels like playing Silver Lake.
Humboldt has that capacity to be able to break through out of this area and be able to accomplish something with
and last year,
like
they made it all the way to the Final Four, to the sub-state round, and Riley County just proved to be a more, it experienced team at that level. Riley
Yeah.
County was a team that had been there before. Obviously, last year was the best finish in school history for Humboldt. So I feel like, although last year's Humboldt team did have a good senior class, this team has the experience at this point in the season that they know how to win and they know how to move on to that next round.
And it's fortunate, and it's the way it's supposed to be structured, obviously, when you get into a playoff format, but just how the difficulty of teams ramps up. And I feel like after this week, they win this game, which they are so far here at halftime, it could eventually break out into a point where you can play with those types of teams, a Riley County or a Silver Lake if it comes down to it. Who'd you say Silver Lake ended up playing? I can't even remember off the top of my head. Regardless of what it may be. But yeah, looking at that bracket, just insanity when it comes down to it. And that used to be the way 3A was.
Yeah.
But since everything moved down a classification, at least next year things change a little bit, not a whole lot. I think it's interesting.
We'll talk more about that towards the end of this one, just to make sure we're not jumping ahead too much. I know, Kane, I think you've got a couple stats for us.
Yeah, I mentioned with Connor Haviland, had that 9 carries for 212 yards, 5 rushing touchdowns, 2 of 2 passing for 57 yards here in this game. Coronado with 20 yards rushing on 4 carries with it. And we talk about offensively for this Humboldt team and what they're able to do. It doesn't seem like a whole lot with spreading the ball around, but just in the reality of it, and I should have done this beforehand, but they've had 15 offensive plays in the first half of this ball game. So, even with something like that, they're still trying to spread the ball around, and with the number of athletes they have on their side of the ball, it really shows for it. On the other end, for Southeast, Bryce Peterson, he's 4 of 11 passing, 57 yards through that interception, of course, which was returned for a touchdown. And just rushing as far as Southeast goes, they've ran almost twice as many plays offensively as Humboldt has through the first half of this game. And they have about a fifth as much yardage as Humboldt has up to this point. And just a difficult recipe for being able to win a ball game.
That is rough for sure if you're Southeast, I can say. They made the trip up here to Humboldt, and things so far not really going the way they expected in the first half. Kane, I don't know about you, but I think we're going to take a quick break real quick, rest our voice for a minute or two, and when we come back, we should have second half action of this regional playoff game. But until then, you have been watching the Class 2A regional playoff football game here in Humboldt on SEK-sports.com. welcome back to Humboldt, Kansas, as we are about 30-plus seconds away from starting the second half as the Humboldt Cubs lead 48-0 over the Southeast Lancers. It's been an exciting exciting first half if you are on the Humboldt side of things. If you are on the Southeast side of things, it's been a rough go of it, and to make matters worse, Southeast is going to kick off to Humboldt to start the second half.
It was a perfect half of football for Humboldt. I cannot think of any instance in that first half where if you were the Cubs, you would have done anything differently. And that's the way you want to be playing at this point in the season, as you try to advance deeper into the playoffs.
Yeah, and there was a couple score updates we had there. The biggest one we were looking for, Rossville and Nemaha Central, which would be the opponent for the winner of this one, we were unable to find. However, just south of us, Chanute taking on Lewisburg, and Chanute had a halftime score 14-8. So Chanute playing well on their home field tonight, looking to pull one off, and if they could do that, then they would play the winner of Paola and Piper, which is a little bit tougher of an opponent.
Yeah, Paola's a lot better than Lewisburg was this year, that's for sure.
Kickoff will go out of bounds here to start the second half as Cooper J-Rowe is back to return it, and just watch this one roll out of bounds. So, and actually it appears Coach Wyrick wants Southeast to kick it again.
It, yep. The way you've been able to move the football just in any aspect of the game, if you're Humboldt, you want to take advantage of just getting the ball into any one of your athletes' hands at this point.
Yeah, and it'll be J-Rowe. J-Rowe's the deep man, Gunnar Elder and Jackson Akins back there with him. But J-Rowe will be the deep man. So Southeast going to kick this one. Another line drive kick. This one picked up. That's Jackson Akins running to the near side. Akins now following his blockers and then runs into a wall of Lancers just past midfield. So that is where Humboldt will take over at the Southeast 49-yard line. And it appears Gavin Page will take over at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I kind of wondered when they might try to do something like this. It's understandable from just about any aspect of it. And try to get some more playing time out there. Don't want to risk injury.
Yeah, Page, the sophomore backup quarterback. Page, again, he starts on the defensive side of the ball, but has played plenty of action at the quarterback position, whether it was mop-up duty or in the beginning of the season. Ooh, high snap. Page looking to get on top of this one. He will get on top. However, he will lose about 16 yards. So that'll bring up a 2nd and 26 for the Humboldt offense. That might be the first negative play Humboldt's had all game.
Yeah, especially if that magnitude. And as you said, a high snap. And a lot of times people will look at that and say, it wasn't that high. But you're also not expecting the ball to get that high.
It's not that high. You've got to also realize the height difference between
Page
and Haviland.
I always defend the quarterback in that position because you're expecting it waist to chest high. And that catches you off guard a lot of the time.
Another high snap. Page pulls this one in, option play. And now the pitch, ball's on the ground, and Humboldt will fall on it. That was number 81, Jed Nash. But again, Humboldt now going even further back after another 5-yard loss. So 3rd and 26. That's not right. 31, 3rd and 31.
Had me convinced, man. I wasn't going to.
3rd and long. How about that?
There you go. I always say that. 3rd and long, 3rd and a mile.
So Page will be in the shotgun set. Page gets the snap. This one lower. Pass will be complete to the outside. That's number 6, Titan Michael. However, Michael will lose about a yard. So 4th and 32, and big shock here. The punt team will come onto the field for the first time.
You know, I was looking at some of the stats you provided me. showing that Haviland 3 punts.
Hey, whoa.
That's on the year?
Whoa. Zol Lopez provided those stats
Hey,
for you.
I'm sure they're accurate, but only punting that many times it comes down to it. That shows how impressive your offense
actually, that's
is.
3 punts inside the 20.
Oh, gotcha. Just
But
want to make sure on that.
Haviland will come out to punt this one. A booming kick, especially for considering that went into the wind. That was a very good punt. It's a 32-yard punt into the wind. You take that, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. You want me to go on my little punter rant about how they really should get the yardage from where they kick the ball from instead of the line of scrimmage? Always hated that about football. Kickers get it from where they kick field goals. Punters don't get it from where they punt it from.
Because the ball touches the ground.
I guess. That's just always kind of drives me crazy when it comes down to that. But, yeah, great punt regardless. Flag on the far side.
Yeah, Southeast looking to get things going, but Jacob Fudge, a little bit too much fudge, and leans over off sides. Look, I don't have a favorite player, but I do have favorite names, and Fudge is easily my favorite name on this team.
I do like it. It is a very strong name.
He's a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Like, this one's going to come to the outside. A good run. It's number 42, Zayden Hendricks. Flag does come out. Good run for Hendricks.
Be curious what they decide to call on this for this flag.
I'm curious what they call. I'm also curious. It's going to come back, and now the chains had already moved. So, does anybody know where the ball was supposed to be, or where the chains are supposed to be?
Right. Yeah, the far side official had him moving down. He's like, well,
this will be fun.
Whoa.
Had a face mask on the offense. That's tough.
Yeah. You don't see that a whole lot.
I got him on the stiff arm. It said he was grabbing the face mask. So,
which is what it takes. You got to grab on the offensive end of it to be able to get that
That's tough
call.
if you're a running back.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
So, first and about 14. Man in motion, and this one's going to go to Hendricks. Hendricks will be brought down in the backfield. That's number 70, Joseph Froggett. And Froggett coming into this one with 16 tackles. He did have a sack last week against Central Heights. And Froggett really coming on at the right time here as the playoff action continues.
Yeah, absolutely. And defensively for Humboldt, keep things up on their end of the bargain. Still trying to pitch that shutout.
I always want to keep that going. Man in motion. Pitch is going to be to the outside. That's Tavanero. Tavanero trying to follow his blocker out there on the outside. Now the push continues. Tavanero in that scrum. Tavanero will pick up about 5 yards on the play. But that will bring up a third and long, third and about 12.
Humboldt did a good job getting to the ball carrier, just allowed him to push the pile for the additional yardage.
So Peterson under center. Now the give going the other direction, coming this direction. Trying to see who the ball carrier was. That's Hendricks again. And Hendricks picking up about 7. So it'll set up a 4th and 4, 4th and manageable anyway, especially considering it was 2nd and 14. So 4th and 4.
And if you're Southeast, you're running the football a lot better than you were in the first half.
Peterson under center. Ooh, and that's a big one. Jacob Fudge upset with himself as he jumped off sides, and that'll give Southeast a first down.
Just trying to time that snap as best he could. And it is tough, especially for defensive linemen. You get some of that momentum going. It's hard to stop it quickly.
So 1st and 10 for Southeast from their own 48-yard line. Man in motion now going to come back this direction. And Gunnar Elder sniffing that one out immediately as that one goes nowhere. Zayden Hendricks tried to find the hole, but Gunnar Elder said, no, 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 not today, big boy.
That's what you have to have.
Finger wag.
The instincts as a defender to see when that hole opens up, fill it quickly, and really not allow a running back to do much, even after blocking develops. Blocking there was fairly decent. It's just good team defense rallying to the football by Humboldt.
So 2nd and 10. Gibbs going to be to Tavanero, and Trey Summer coming flying through the line. And this is going to be a loss of about 1. Trey Summer coming up from the linebacker position, and he just burst through that line. And Tavanero unable to get anywhere. It's going to set up a 3rd and 11 for the Southeast offense. 5:43 and counting to go in the 3rd quarter.
Wonder if this is where Southeast decides to try to put it in the air, roll out again like they have typically.
2 men in motion.
Will be
an illegal shift. That flag does come out. Shouldn't you blow that play dead?
Yeah, it should have been dead. Not sure why they kept it going. They also looked like they weren't going to throw it, so they were lucky they did.
The white hat officials had struggled a couple times getting that flag out of his pouch.
I can understand.
Yeah, legal shift on this one.
Well, they're going to say they ran a play anyways.
So Humboldt declining the penalty. So 4th and 11, Southeast going to go for it. Peterson goes under center. Receiver to the near side. Now a man in motion. Peterson going to fake the pitch. Now looking to throw. He's going deep, and this one will fall incomplete. Was looking for Tavanero, who was coming out of the backfield, but it will fall incomplete, overthrown to Tavanero. Humboldt will take over at the Southeast 47-yard line.
Peterson had a chance. He was going to have to drop that in perfectly between coverages, but he had an opportunity. And, again, Humboldt just doing what they had to, played their assignments the way they needed to, forcing turnover on downs.
Good job by the Humboldt defense. Now, a big test for this Humboldt offense is, yes, it's 48-0. However, a lot of underclassmen out there now on this offense, see if they can't get things going. Snap to Page, now gives to the back up the middle. This one's going to go for about 3. Couldn't quite see the number on the back.
Yeah, kind of has that problem.
That's 81. That's Nash, Jed Nash.
Jerseys roll up a little bit. Yeah. It's almost impossible to see a number. But Humboldt just showing diversity on that side. Offensive play calling. Pistol gun set. Ran a full house backfield. Different formation than what we've seen so far.
So Page shotgun set again. Nash to his right. Now a man in motion. Page going to keep this one himself. Running the old Connor Haviland right here. And Page will pick up enough for the first down. Picks up about 7.5. Needed 7 1/4. Barely gets the first down, but will get it.
Yeah, dropped him right at the sticks, but moved it, got the first, pushing a little deeper into Lancer territory. Still very impressed with the way a lot of these players, despite not being starters, able to run efficiently on the offensive end.
Page back in the shotgun set. Now a man in motion. I think the give was supposed to go to the man in motion, but the high snap broke that up, and Page smartly just tries to run it straight forward. Picks up about 5. So what appears to be a busted play ends up being a 5-yard gain.
The way you want it, a busted play that goes for 5 yards.
Earlier in the season, I believe it was the Fredonia game, and it was a high snap that went over Haviland's head, and it looked like, oh, this is surely a 10, 12-yard loss, and he ran it in for like a 37-yard touchdown.
It's making it a little more difficult.
High snap once again. Page just going to have to fall on this one. Coaching staff clearly unhappy as Coach Wyrick finds Speed Hepker and immediately sends Hepker in. Hepker was filling in for Lastman, who was injured. Lastman, although did play a little bit in this game, Hepker going to go out there and fill in a little bit at the center position.
Yeah, it's really just been the one spot they've had trouble with, getting that snap down. And it's one of those things you take for granted as an offense, a specialized portion of it, especially if you run out of shotgun a lot, being able to get it back to the quarterback accurately.
So shotgun set. Page running for his life. Tries to throw it off his back foot, but doesn't have enough to get it to the tight end, Trey Summer. It appears Humboldt will punt. I don't recall Connor Havlin wearing a hoodie in the first half under his jersey.
I don't blame him. Not in the least bit.
At halftime, he went in and said, "Coach, putting on my hoodie."
I had over 200 yards rushing in the first half. I probably earned it.
It's more spread out formation. High snap. Havlin gets it away. This one's blocked. And Havlin gets back there to make the tackle after it was picked up by Southeast. But Southeast is going to have great field position and their best scoring opportunity so far here in the game.
Yeah, this is going to be similar to where they ended that drive where they threw the pick six.
I say this is their best scoring opportunity.
Best starting field position.
Well, they were a little closer to the end zone there before half, but they only had 4 seconds left, so it was one play. You've got 14 minutes and 17 seconds left of football here. You've got an opportunity to score on this possession.
Yeah, definitely an opportunity if you're the Lancers with this, and got to take advantage of it. They moved the football a lot better on the ground here in the third quarter than they did in the first half.
So Peterson will go under center. Man in motion coming this direction. Pitch will be to the man in motion. He's got a little bit of running room on the outside. It's going to be a foot race. Actually, I think Gunnar Elder grabbed him by the hand and slowed down. That was Zayden Hendricks. And a good job by Gunnar Elder to slow down Hendricks just enough.
Kind of look like Tavanero out there. Maybe a little hook block coming around the edge. Ended up not getting called, but still able to get the yardage there for the Lancers. When they don't see it, doesn't matter.
Look, when it's 48-0 and the wind's blowing like this, it's got to be a really good penalty.
That's not the Brett I know. Brett I know is call it the same way the whole game. That's the Brett I know.
This is true. So man in motion once again. Now it's going to be Tavanero going the other direction. And Tavanero trying to get in the end zone, and he'll get there. Touchdown, Southeast. And with 2 minutes and 1 second to go in the third quarter, Southeast finally gets on the board. Their first touchdown of the game. Jacob Tavanero takes this one in for 6.
Yeah, and that time, Southeast able to get the blocking up into the second level. And once Tavanero able to get there, just able to drag defenders with him and push his way into the end zone.
Lancers will go for 2. It's going to be a direct snap. Look like number 61, Blaze Pruitt. And the offensive lineman, Blaze Pruitt, takes this one in for 2. So the 2-point conversion is good. That makes the score Humboldt still on top, 48-8, 2:01 remaining. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. You are watching Class 2A Regional Playoff Football on SEK-sports.com. Back here in Humboldt, where the Southeast Lancers have now gotten onto the board, 48-8. Humboldt still on top, 2:01 remaining in the third quarter, and now Southeast kicking off to the Cubs. It's going to be a low line drive kick fielded by Jackson Akins, and Akins going to avoid one tackler, now spinning out of another, and he will be brought down at the 46-yard line. So a decent return for the Cubs as they will take over at their own 46-yard line. Coverage of the Class 2A regional playoff football game in Humboldt is brought to you in part by the Johnson Schoengert PA Law Office, located at 118 West Madison Avenue in Iola. Call 620-365-3778. Again, that's 620-365-3778. The Johnson Schoengert PA Law Office wishes the best of luck to all area teams in their quest for a state title. Cubs offense getting out onto the field and somebody not out there. Coach Wyrick very frustrated as he has to use a timeout just to get the guys lined up correctly. I believe that happened last week as well, as at one point Connor Haviland had to yell to the sideline, "Where's my center?" It was a little quieter last week. Everybody was lined up. Now that we're past it, we can mention it was kind of funny.
Yeah, there's some spots you can deal without having, I guess, offensively. That's really not one of them.
It was just that awkward. It was an eerily quiet last week.
Yeah.
It just was a weird feel. And randomly, you could just hear, "Where's my center?" It's like, oh, yeah.
That's a good point, actually.
And that was a little confusion as Lastman was out last week. And
Hey, that
a
happens.
couple different guys were filling in. And we talked to Coach about it post-game. And that's what he had said, is that they just moved some guys around. And there was some miscommunication. I actually think he even took the blame on that one, which I'd do the same, of course.
Just working out some kinks, and that's a good opportunity for Humboldt to be able to do that, because you never know when you could have next man up as you advance further into the playoffs.
So Humboldt going to take the offense back out there now. Page will be in shotgun set. Aiden Jean, the running back beside him. Man, Page, delivers a strike. It was intended for number 4, Ethan Depke. However, Depke drops it. Depke just a sophomore, so looking for the sophomore to sophomore connection there, but pass will fall incomplete.
It's been a bit of a struggle offensively for Humboldt in this second half, to say the least. I know, they got new guys in there than what they had with the starters, but I'd like to see a little more of a crisp execution from your guys coming in relief.
Yeah, Page has had a little bit of trouble getting the snaps cleanly and hadn't had a lot of time to throw. Option play. Ball on the ground once again. Southeast going to pick this one up. And Southeast looking to take this one to the house. 10-5. Touchdown, Southeast. They strike once again. That's number 32, Cooper Hamblin. And not so fast. Southeast just scored back-to-back touchdowns in about a 30-second span. Makes you wonder, will Coach Wyrick go back to Connor Haviland?
He might start filtering in some more guys. That's entirely possible.
Not to say this is any of Gavin Page's fault on his own.
Lack of execution when it comes down to it. And defenders were in the backfield so quick, it forced a very fast pitch, which led to the fumble.
So Peterson going to go. Actually, he won't go under center. Two-point conversion will be unsuccessful. It looked like another trick play. That time it was Carter Westervelt took the direct snap, and Westervelt stopped immediately. But it was all Humboldt in the first half. But now Southeast leading 14-0 in the third quarter, making the overall score now 48-14. Humboldt on top. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. You've been watching Class 2A regional playoff football action on SEK-sports.com.
All right, clear.
Back here in Humboldt, Southeast scoring back-to-back touchdowns in about a 30-second span. So Humboldt still leading 48-14, but the momentum on the Lancer side makes you wonder what adjustments Coach Wyrick and the Humboldt coaching staff will make here late in the third quarter. Again, 1:39 remaining in the third. Kickoff going to go to the near side. Gunnar Elder going to pick this one up, and he will step out of bounds at the 42-yard line. But again, pretty good field position for the Cubs offense.
Well, it's been the exact opposite here in this half than it was in the first. Pretty good field position, but hasn't mattered too much through these last couple possessions because they've been going the opposite direction.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle, whether it's been high snaps or, as Kane mentioned, poor execution. And looks like Coach Wyrick's just going to throw these young guys into the fire and let them figure it out themselves, which I like that approach. This one's going to go right at the middle. That's Cooper Jaro, the tailback. And Jaro will pick up about 3.
It's much better execution there on that play, able to get things off without a hitch, picked up positive yardage, which, again, it's what you've got to do here at this point. I know the score being what it is doesn't seem like much with Southeast on those last 2 possessions scoring, but you don't want to start instilling confidence into a team like this late in the ball game.
Momentum is big, and the last thing you want to do, like you just said, giving the Southeast team confidence could be very, very dangerous. Page shotgun set once again. He's got Jaro behind him. However, Page going to cut this one upfield, and Page will pick up about 5, close to 6, 5. That'll bring up a 3rd and 2, which is by far and away the best back-to-back 2 plays that Humboldt has run. And unless they throw an incomplete pass, this should be the last play of the third quarter coming up.
It was just a good decision by Page there not to pitch the football because he saw the end crashing down and really sealed off the edge from him trying to gain the outside. He stepped up in the pocket and tried the middle of the field for some good yardage.
Yeah, the limited action Page has played this year. I think he has the right mindset to be a quarterback. He's got the potential there, but Connor Haviland just so good. Cooper Jaro, it's a foot race going down the sideline. That's a horse collar tackle. Whew, man, that looked rough. A bad angle by the official to not be able to see that call, but understandable. He was chasing the play as well.
Trying to figure out if he threw his hat or just dropped it. It's like it just fell off. Thought he was trying to tell us something.
We'll call it a borderline horse collar tackle.
Yeah, I felt like he kind of got his hand back there. It's hard to tell, obviously, whether he pulled him down by it. But I always look to the player. If they don't throw too much of a fuss about it.
Yeah, nonetheless, a big play for Cooper Jaro. However, clock strike 0 here at the end of the third quarter. So your third quarter score, 48-14, 12 minutes of football remaining for one of these teams. We're going to go ahead and take a quick timeout. You've been watching Class 2A regional playoff football action on SEK-sports.com.
This may sound like a typical high school basketball game being played on a Friday night in Kansas. In fact, it's a crash course in cooperation and teamwork. It's a test of dedication, determination, and drive. It's character development in action. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think about this. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students who participate in school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. At the same time, playing sports helps teach lessons not covered in the classroom. Lessons like tolerance, respect for the rules, and the importance of supporting your community. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Kansas State High School Activities Association and the Kansas Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Back here in Humboldt as we are about to start the fourth quarter. Gavin Page in the shotgun set. 5 seconds on the play clock. Gunnar Elder in motion. Page now going to follow his blockers, and Page will get in for another Humboldt touchdown after a scoreless third quarter for the Cubs. Gavin Page gets the Humboldt offense back on the scoreboard, now leading 54-14 with 11:55 remaining in the football game.
And that's the kind of drive that Humboldt wanted to see out of these players when they came in to start the third quarter. It just took them some time to adjust a little bit and able to get it down, showing confidence in those guys coming in there, filling in for a lot of those starters especially at the skill positions.
Humboldt will go for 2 once again. Page in the shotgun set. Again, 5 seconds on the play clock. Page going to look to throw. This pass intended for Cooper J-Row will fall incomplete. Score remains 54-14 with 11:55 to go. We're actually going to keep things right here as we just got back from a break. So, Kane, scoreless third there for the Humboldt Cubs, but a quick strike to start the fourth quarter, and that was a very good drive for, quote-unquote, the Humboldt backups.
Yeah, that's what you had to have happen, and it was such a slow start in the third quarter. And you've obviously seen more of this team than I have, so I'm sure a lot of those guys have actually gotten some pretty decent playing time over the course of this season with the way some of the scores have been for Humboldt. But sometimes it's not a bad thing to struggle because you want to see how your team responds, and we saw how they responded. They were able to come back, pick themselves up, finished off a drive for some points.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see out of your underclassmen. You just want to see them finally put a whole drive together, playing good, solid football, and that's what they did. So Connor Havlin going to make his way back out onto the field just to handle the kicking duties, and Havlin going to fire a bullet. Now Havlin going to go try to make a tackle because he's been sick of standing on the sideline.
It's the best way to warm up is get out there and run. I don't blame him.
Connor Havlin kicks off and then just goes on a mad sprint. If you ever played Madden, you know, on the kickoff when you're controlling the guy and you're weaving in and out of guys.
Except that time it's the kicker.
Yeah, that time it was the kicker, and he had a lot of speed.
Yeah.
It was like your creative kicker that you gave 99 speed come flying down the field.
Always one-bar face mask.
There is a flag on the play. Going to get a face mask on Humboldt. So that'll give Southeast 15 more yards after the kick return. I know we mentioned it a little bit last week, and we've said it a couple times tonight. But just in case anybody was wondering, it is cold.
Yeah, we're outdoors. Did you even mention that? I guess people probably know.
Yeah, we're up top in the crow's nest. Yeah, outdoors. It's chilly. That south wind is it. At least it's not a north wind.
That's true.
Peterson going to give it up the middle. It's number 7, Quentin Lunsford, the sophomore running back. Lunsford picks up about 2.
Ball handed off to number 7, Quentin Lunsford. On the stop for the Cubs, number 70,
Joseph Froggett making the stop for Humboldt. Trey Summer there as well. Summer coming up from the linebacker position. So 2nd and 8 for the Lancer offense. 11:15 and counting left to go in the ball game. Man in motion. Give's going to be, that's Hendricks. Hendricks got running room on the far side. Gunnar Elder trying to bring him down. And officials say he stepped out at about the 28-yard line. Still about a 32-yard run for Hendricks as he got to the outside.
Ran the trap, and it kind of fooled the defense there for Humboldt as it got them flowing one direction when the play was going to the left-hand side instead.
I was going to make a pun about the singers of One Direction, but I couldn't
might
tell.
throw you over
I
the
can't
edge.
tell you who sings in that band anymore. It sounded cool in my head.
Yeah, I bet.
Hendricks again going to the left side, and he'll pick up about 8. Looks like Gunnar Elder again on the tackle on the far side.
Working the left-hand side of that defense now are the Lancers.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Kane and I, we've done ball games for the last 7 years together, mainly in Independence. Kane has never hit me or hurt me. Not to say he probably hasn't wanted to. I've made many puns. Kane is not a fan of puns. It's time to give to the inside. And again, these lovely white uniforms with light blue numbers. Looks like that was number 7 again, Quentin Lunsford.
Thank you for reading what I wrote for you about me not hitting you. I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Give me a little more energetic next time. So people believe it. Big 3rd and short coming up here if you're the Lancers.
Yeah, that's 4-down territory, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, negative yardage can come sometimes, and sometimes in bunches.
This has quarterback sneak written all over it.
Going, yeah.
Man in motion, and it's not going to be a sneak. It's going to be a pitch to the outside. Hendricks will pick up the first down.
Got good enough blocking.
Yeah, the receiver is doing a good job. So one of the offensive linemen pulling for Humboldt looked like Jacob Fudge, a little slow to get up, but he does get up. The official was standing over him. I wonder if the official was either telling him either get up or stay down. He popped up, and he's ready to go.
Been working that left side, running the ball quite a bit here on this drive.
1st and 10 now from the 14-yard line for Southeast. Give's going to be to Hendricks once again. Hendricks takes a shot.
Yeah, out to the left. Lancers seem to have found something they like running to the left here.
Yeah,
right
they've gone to that far side. That 4 or 5 plays in a row now, picking up chunks of yardage every time. So 2nd and 1 from the 5. Peterson going to look to throw. He's got a man open on the far sideline. It appears he's got enough for the first down. That'll bring up 1st and goal from about the 3-yard line.
Tabanero with the reception out there. And a 1st and goal. I am not a betting man, but I'm going to say they're going to the left.
Ooh. Kick a field goal.
Okay.
Ooh.
Whoa,
Peterson going to take this one right up the gut. Not going to score, but he will pick up a little bit. And there's a couple Humboldt players pointing. They've got the ball. Humboldt has the football. Ball put on the ground. And if they just would have listened to Kane and run to the left side, Peterson tried to take it up the middle himself. And ball pops out. Humboldt will take over.
That's where the quarterback sneak gets kind of dicey because you've immediately got to secure that football as contact is happening along the line of scrimmage, and it can be easy to lose the football in that situation.
Yeah, 8-18. That was hard to get out. 8:18 remaining in the game, and Peterson, the quarterback, he's a senior, came into this one 30 of 100 passing, not a great percentage. Did have 630 yards, also had over 700 rushing yards on the season, and he came into this one hoping to get a win and clearly frustrated as he walked off the field after that play. And Peterson been playing a lot of defense, and he really didn't want anything to do with at least that first defensive snap. As Peterson, he's still got his helmet off on the far side, clearly upset. Nothing to be upset about, even though he put the ball on the ground. Peterson's played a good game here tonight. Had one heck of a season as well.
Yeah, like I said, it happens. You've got to secure that ball so quickly as contact's happening on the sneak, and it's just inevitable sometimes.
So Humboldt went with the pass attempt on 1st down.
That ball went loose on the turf.
Now a fumble. Will be a gain of about 2 on the fumble. So it'll be 3rd and a long 8, maybe even 9. See what Humboldt decides to do on this 3rd and long.
Yeah, they threw on that 1st down play trying to catch, I guess, the Lancers off guard a little bit. It was fairly well covered, but it's still that wind at their back. It's 3rd down. You're kind of backed up. Not a bad idea to maybe try to throw again.
It's going to be an option play. Page going to keep this one himself. He's going to pick up about 5. Unfortunately, he needed much more. And Humboldt going to rush the punt team out onto the field.
It's another good read by Page on the defensive end. Saw he crashed down, took off the edge a little bit, so he stepped up, got what he could out of that.
A good opportunity here for Connor Haviland to get a booming punt into this wind. Up in this wind, I should say, not into the wind.
It's picked up a little, that wind.
If he can get one high enough. Haviland, a good kick. This will clear the returner, and a good bounce This is going to be one heck of a punt. You want to count those yards?
Sure. Just give me a minute.
What's 39 and 32?
It is 71.
A 71-yard punt from Connor Haviland.
Net. Got to throw that out there. Hey, and if football would do things the right way, that'd have been about an 80-yard punt.
For sure. And I'm getting something from our own Zol Lopez. Got a score update. Chanute leading Lewisburg 23-14 with 8:09 to go in the fourth. We'll see if the Blue Comets could hold on and move on to the third round of the playoffs. Ball on the ground. Ooh, let's see if he ruled him down. They're going to, ooh, man.
Yeah, the way he came in whistling. No, they're going to say.
They're going to give this ball to Humboldt.
Yeah.
And from my view, it looked like he was laying on his back when that ball came out. That's a tough break.
Well, the way the whistle was blown, I thought he was running in there to rule it down. But, no, you're right. They're going to say Humboldt football after the fumble recovery.
So the punt and a forced fumble combination, that's going to be about a 65-yard play for Humboldt. If you put those two plays together, the long punt, that's a big change of field position. And now the Humboldt offense is in striking territory. 6:57 to go here in the game. Gunnar Elder in motion. Page gives to his back. That's Cooper Jaro. And Jaro going to take this one for about 3. Guess I wasn't generous enough. Nearly 4 on the carry.
Yeah, I've noticed that a little more this year than in years past. The officials kind of start that initial marking, and they walk it down a little more. I've been off more than a few times myself this year with some of that yardage a little bit.
So second and a long 6. Page going to the left side. Page going to pick up about 3, so that'll set up a 3rd and 4.
Good job hauling in another high snap there and getting positive yardage on that play.
Have a fourth quarter score. Rossville and Nemaha Central tied at 14 in the fourth quarter. Again, the winner of that game will take on the winner of this one. That one a much tighter game as that one's looking to come down to the wire.
That's been a championship game in years past.
Yeah. Page taking this one himself. He will pick up enough for the first down. And one thing not to overlook is Humboldt came into this one expecting a tough matchup from Southeast, and Humboldt took control from the beginning to where Humboldt, no major injuries. They were able to get most of their starters out of the ball game. We got to remember coming into this one, Southeast had to go to double overtime to get past Osage City. The winner of that Rossville-Nemaha Central game potentially could go to overtime or at least playing in a hard-fought game down to the wire. The winner of that game is going to be probably a little bit more tired, more sore than the assumed winner Humboldt out of this one. Humboldt scoring once again. Cooper Jaro, I didn't get too excited. It looked like he was going to get spun to the ground, and Jaro managed to stay on his feet. So Cooper Jaro takes that one in for another Humboldt score. Now Humboldt leading 60-14.
It's the importance of any running back to keep your legs moving at all times.
I thought, oh, he's going down, stay calm. And next thing I know, Cooper Jaro spins out of it and walks into the end zone for another touchdown. 2-point conversion attempt. Page going to look to throw, and this one will fall incomplete as it was a little low, intended for Drake Harrington. Nonetheless, Humboldt still leading 60-14, 5:01 remaining in the ballgame. We're going to take a quick timeout. You've been watching Class 2A Regional Playoff Football on SEKHyphensports.com.
If you're looking to save a buck on a new-to-you truck, car, or SUV, come see the selection at Merle Kelly Ford in Chanute. Spot a yellow tag and save thousands off the original listing price. Third row, leather, power seats, Bluetooth, rear view cameras. It's the markdown sale at Merle Kelly Ford in Chanute.
back here in Humboldt, where the Cubs lead 60-14 in a rematch of the Week 8 matchup. Humboldt won that one 50-18. However, that one was a much tighter battle than this one here tonight, as Humboldt has been in control since pretty much the opening kickoff of this one, leading 48-0 at halftime, and now again 60-14. It's been all Humboldt.
Yeah, even going back to that first half, just a perfect half of football being played by Humboldt. That's the kind of momentum they want to be carried into next week, regardless of who their opponent's going to be.
So Connor Havlin coming in, looking to kick this one deep. This will be fielded at the 6-yard line. Connor Havlin playing till the whistle is. He just wanted in on some action.
He is all over the place out there on the field.
That kid loves football.
Ooh, another score. Blue Comets up 23-21. A little under 7 to go there in that fourth quarter.
Getting interesting.
To see if, Chanute, the lone SEK League team, still left. Trying to carry that torch.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh got knocked off in the first round. That was kind of a little bit of a shocker there, as Spring Hill knocked them off. So Southeast offense back out there on the field. First down play, number 7, Quentin Lunsford picks up about a yard. Maddox Johnson on the tackle for Humboldt. Bring up a 2nd and 9 for the Lancers. 3:48 and counting to go in this one. Peterson running to the near side. Looked like an option play, but like Peterson had absolutely no intentions of ever pitching that football.
Yeah, don't blame him at this point. It's going to be some of your last snaps for your team here. Got to savor every bit of it. Still able to get some good yardage. I think all in all, pretty good decision on his
picked
part.
up about 6, and kind of as Kane was mentioning, for some of these young men, this will be the last time they ever put on a football pads anyway. I know there's flag football leagues and whatnot out there.
Where at?
A rumor I heard. I know there's some down in Coffeyville. There's some flag football tournaments in Independence if anybody want to check those out.
That is true.
This one goes up the middle. That's Zayden Hendricks. And Hendricks will pick up enough for the first down. Trey Summer with the stop for Humboldt. The ball will be spotted at the 34-yard line. 2:30 and counting to go. So Peterson and the offense getting set. Man in motion, now ball on the ground.
The way he reacted, I thought he spiked it. But he did just kind of lose it a little bit. And that's been tough for them on the exchange a couple times over the course of this game.
And Humboldt jumps on top of it. I've never seen a team so almost disinterested in the fact that they picked up a fumble recovery. But
well, and just at this stage, it gets to that point a little bit where, again, just for everybody's sake, you want to be able to get to the final whistle with nobody hurt on either side of things.
They do have a running clock to this point, so Humboldt likely going to go into either just an easy, quick run or some sort of victory formation. It's the weirdest huddle we've ever seen.
Ever seen everybody line up in a single file when they get the huddle? What? It's the Super Maryland Eye.
Page going to take this one, now running to the right side. There's a flag on the play on the far side.
Officials knows what's up. That clock still runs with the flag out.
Running clock. Flags come a-flying. It's kind of like in basketball when there's a running clock. Everything's a foul.
We're actually going to shoot 2? Really? Yep. going to call a hold against Humboldt.
Go clock now down to 40 seconds, so this should be the final play of the game. And it looks like they will go into victory formation for this one. Page takes the snap, sits down on a knee. And play clock still hasn't reset, so that'll be enough.
You really just can't say enough about the way this Humboldt team played in this one. And, again, got to give a lot of credit to Southeast. Just ran into a force here tonight in the Humboldt Cubs. But still, Lancers played their heart out.
A very well-fought game, both teams out here. Southeast playing to the whistle, which is, we talked about that at halftime, something we were hoping to see, and I think they did that, so that's definitely a good thing. And we talked about, hey, Southeast, come win the second half.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
They won it 14-12, so glass half full. They went out on a high note of the second half, battled their hearts out, which is something you want to see. And Humboldt moving on. Hopefully before we go off the air tonight, we will have an opponent at that point.
That thing could go several overtimes.
It could go break. So we're actually going to keep things here for a little bit, as hopefully saw Coach earlier and said he would do his best to get up here. Told me to depend on how the game goes. I think the game went.
Well, he just may say that, there's not much to talk about at this point. But, yeah, you're right. It's good to see with the way they've been able to secure this victory here at home.
And Kane, what you see on your screen now is this is something that Humboldt has done, not every game, but with many of their opponents this season. They go through their line and they give their high fives, handshakes, and whatnot. Both teams actually get together. All the coaches get together, and even in some of the games when it was warmer, clearly.
Yeah.
Cheerleaders went out there, and the teams gotten together and said a post-game prayer. And anyway, I thought that's what was going on here. Maybe they were just discussing. But
well, they were still. I even saw it after the last knee. A couple guys just giving each other
a lot of
hugs
respect,
across.
especially these two teams playing each other twice in a matter of 14 days.
Yeah.
A lot of respect between these two teams, but I guess what I was trying to say really didn't work out because they didn't do it. But
they hurt
Humboldt many times. I mean, 6 or 7 games this season. They'd get to midfield with the opposing team, and both coaches, both teams coming together and kind of just more or less saying a prayer that everybody came out of this one healthy. I mean, if you're a prayer, if that's your beliefs, that's so awesome. If not, respect it. That's just kind of one of those things. Everybody kind of respects the game, and at this level especially, some of these kids are. You've got your Connor Havilands, your Joshua Halls, etc. That they're going to go on to the next level, and they've got potential to get some free education out of this. And who knows, even more. You never know. I mean,
and especially in college now, the way things are going.
Yeah, the way things are going, you never really do know. For some kids, they come out here on Friday nights, and the question is this it? Mm-hmm. There's some of these seniors that, is this the last time I put on a football jersey? Not just a high school football jersey, but a football jersey that I play a game in.
Well, that's the hardest part, about every year. And even just from the end of – and you've also experienced this when you've done games with me in Independence, but especially now that you're doing play-by-play, you kind of know a lot of these guys. And, after this season, whenever it does end up ending, you won't see them play for Humboldt anymore. And it's just kind of just how that plays out over the course. And if you continue to do this, hopefully you still do, and see a lot of these guys as they move on and do other things, as you mentioned. Just kind of neat to be able to see that when it comes down to it. But the way the things are going for Humboldt, and if they keep playing to that potential, it could be a very special season for the Cubs.
Yeah, and you kind of talking about getting to know some of the players and building relationships. Thank goodness for Twitter.
Oh, yeah, this day and age especially, yeah.
Twitter has allowed me to, whether it's players, coaches, parents even, I've been able to kind of reach out and speak with some of these people, and it's helped me. And I've said on other broadcasts as for Humboldt goes that it's kind of been an opportunity. I'll go back and say when I did games with you at Independence, I always felt like I got welcomed into being a Bulldog. I felt as I was quote unquote a Bulldog. And it took me about 2 years to feel that. No disrespect to Independence, but it took parents and fans,
Well, you did go to Coffeyville for a little bit.
Yeah,
So
but people were like, "Who's this guy doing the
Yeah.
games with Kane?" It took me like 2 weeks to come here, and people were like, "Hey, we appreciate you coming up," and I love that. I've had a couple different parents come up, and they thank me for doing this, and I mean, jokes on them. Thank you for allowing me to do this.
Yeah.
Like without you giving us the opportunity to be here, your kids wouldn't have the opportunity to get this recognition, and it's been awesome. It's been a great experience, and because this team keeps winning, the experience gets to continue to at least next week, hopefully beyond.
Well, and you may know better than I can't remember because I don't keep up with 2A or things like that as much. But the way things are as far as hosting goes in 2A, because I know in 4A it's just highest seed. 2A still do it differently where they switch off east-west with the way it goes, or have they switched it around a little bit? Because it just shifts so much with Keisha when it comes down to it and how they do it. It's just hard to tell anymore. But I feel like you kind of were for sure you were going to be on the road next week regardless.
Yeah, Humboldt will travel next week. Not sure where.
Who the opponent is, yeah, I guess that's true.
It'll be Nemaha
Nemaha
Central
Valley
or Rossville.
Central. Keep wanting to call them Valley.
And Kane, you'll notice something here. This is a traditional thing. This is a traditional thing. Coach Wyrick making his way up the steps. It'll take him a couple minutes because he likes to stop and clean up the stadium on his way up here. He'll pick up trash as he goes.
That's the way to do it. Right
I mean,
there.
yeah,
Hey,
I
that's a
get it.
Renaissance man.
He's gonna make his way up here, but do a little cleaning while he's coming. Real quick before Coach gets up here, I do want to mention coverage of the Class 2A regional playoff football game in Humboldt was brought to you by these sponsors: Johnson Schoengert PA, Cobalt Boats, Merle Kelly Ford, Animal Medical Center, Buster's Barbecue Home Cooking and Catering, Finley's Lawn and Pest, Humboldt Recreation Commission, Integrity Insurance, Labette Bank, Labette Health, Merle Kelly Ford, Midwest Medical Billing, the Monarch Cement Company, Shields Barbershop, and the Southeast High School Booster Club. And believe it or not, Coach, he's made his way up here. We are up top, up in the crow's nest. So I can't tell you, Coach, thanks enough for coming up here and doing this. I know it's a lot tougher to get up here. It's cold, it's windy, but cold and wind means nothing when you get a big regional playoff victory.
Yeah, it was fun, and we've been preaching all year. We've gotten a couple times there, starting fast in the first half, and coming out hoping to kick off, and we tried to snag one. Their offense responded and went down and punched one in real quick and got rolling.
Yeah, Connor Haviland didn't have the 339 yards that he had last time, but that's because you didn't let him play in the second half. He was well on his way, had 200-plus rushing yards in the first half, 5 rushing touchdowns. And it's so easy to say every week it's the Connor Haviland show. And he had 9 carries out of 15 offensive plays, but outside of that, Cooper J-Rowe nearly had a receiving touchdown here, got chased down at the end. Isaiah Coronado, a great job rushing tonight. And your offensive line played phenomenal tonight.
Yeah, and it's good to see on that with Cooper on that one because, it's nothing new, but something we've repped. We've repped it for years, but we haven't finished that RPO much. And to get that extra option on our run game is going to add a lot. If we can really keep executing there. And yeah, we actually had some fun with the O-line tonight and had all 7 of them, and they're all 7 as healthy as we can get them right now, and we actually rotated every possession.
Yeah,
it was kind of fun. They were all getting some PT, and that was always fun.
All I heard coming into this was Taylor Lastman wasn't playing, And then I was up here watching warm-ups, and he was the first player on the field suited up. So personally, I was excited just to see him out there. And then starting lineups, he wasn't out there. But then noticed later on a little bit, he got out there, got some playing time. Did he go well, good tonight?
Yeah.
Expected to be good to go next week as well?
I mean, he's not 100% by any means. I don't know if that's giving something away, but he's not. But even Taylor last minute,
nobody's 100% at this point in the season.
He's an all-league center. I think he would have been all-state if he played all year. People don't realize how much the center position does for a football team, and the difference he makes for us. Even if he's not devastating on some blocks, just getting everything situated, getting us set up on stuff, and makes a huge difference. Plus, then we're not mixing and matching stuff. Guys can play where we really want them at, and it helps our full offense, immensely all the way around.
Well, your offense was clicking on all cylinders, especially in that first half. Your defense, however, as well, played lights out, giving up 14 points in the game. But in the first half, outside of a quarterback sneak on the first play and then kind of a busted play with 10 seconds left, your defense played lights out in that first half.
Yeah, it was great to see. We had some guys that have played all right most of the year that were flying around making plays. Off the top of my head, Blake Walker I thought played tremendous up front for us tonight. Cooper Jarrell I thought was great on the edge and pass and just setting an edge. When you're playing a team like that, the corner almost has to turn into another linebacker, into an edge player, and he did a tremendous job on that. And those are just a couple off the top of my head. It was a great job. We're flying to the ball, and we gave the one up late. We keep preaching guys to fly the ball. Well, safeties fly to the ball, even though we're in kind of a pass defense, pass defense. And we flew up, and there wasn't a safety there, and we were able to run it down and get out of half. But it was great to see us kind of flying around a little bit more on defense.
And even turned the defense into offense a little bit with Gunnar Elder's big pick six. That was an exciting play up here for sure. I'm sure it was even more exciting down on the field. So big one for him. Next week you will be on the road. I would love to tell you. I could tell you who your opponent is. I don't know. No. I'll tell you this. Last score update I got, Rossville and Nemaha were tied at 14 in the fourth quarter. So that one coming down to the wire. We'll know shortly who came away from that one. But, again, it's going to be a long road trip next week. And hopefully, I have no doubt you'll have your team ready to go.
Yeah, we knew you can figure out, looking at the playoffs. We knew either way, it didn't really matter. We went to Rossville last year. I just hope it's not as cold as it was last year. It was unbearable last year up there. But, at this point, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying it doesn't matter to overall, but it doesn't matter as in
everybody's good.
Everyone's
at this point.
A good team, and there's no looking past anybody. Everyone's going to have good offense, good defense. We got to look at some things. And the other thing, when we start looking around the state and stuff, we played Rossville last year, but you're not super familiar with them still, even though we saw them last year. So trying to find everything you can out about team and how to defend them and run your offense in a week without really knowing much about them. It's always honestly fun for me to a point, because as a football coach, you almost enjoy it a little bit, oddly enough. But it's always a difficult task. But like I said, once you get to this point, everyone's tough, and you just got to get ready to go to battle.
Yep. Well, Coach, we're all cold. I appreciate you for climbing up here and chatting with us. But we're going to wish you luck until next week. Congratulations on your win tonight. And again, just good luck next week.
Appreciate it. Go warm up.
Definitely. So big thanks to Coach for coming up and joining us. And again, before we sign off, I do want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors, as coverage tonight of the Class 2A Regional Playoff Football game in Humboldt was brought to you by these sponsors: the Johnson Schoengert PA, Cobalt Boats, Merle Kelly Ford, the Animal Medical Center, Buster's Barbecue Home Cooking and Catering, Finley's Lawn and Pest, the Humboldt Recreation Commission, Integrity Insurance, Labette Bank, Labette Health, Merle Kelly Ford, Midwest Medical Billing, the Monarch Cement Company, Shields Barbershop, and the Southeast High School Booster Club. That's going to do it for us here tonight. On behalf of Kane Carpenter, who was on color, Destiny Shields, who was on the camera, and Zol Lopez, Zol Lopez, who handled all of our production tonight. I'm Brett Shields. It's been a great night of Humboldt and Southeast Lancer football. We'll see you next week from somewhere up north. You've been watching Class 2A Regional Playoff Football on SEK-sports.com.